My first memory of music was probably from when I was around 5 or 6 or something like that. I don't really have a strong memory of my childhood or anything, but my parents listened to a lot of music. I grew up listening to everything from like Beatles, Rolling Stones, Zeppelin, Black Sabbath. I really didn't like it back then. I remember I think I liked Meatloaf's Bat Out of Hell. That was like one of my favorite albums, but I was, yeah, like 5 or 6 or something like that. So I think I kind of grew into the metal without even knowing it or without realizing it myself.
Can't really remember how old I was when I first got into music for real. I guess browsing my parents' vinyls, checking out their music style was my first memories. They listened to a lot of rock and roll and prog music and stuff like that. So I had a good selection to choose from, like Led Zeppelin and some. I remember this Danish band Gasoline, his favorite, and also listened a bit to David Bowie. It was a wide selection. I even stole some of their vinyls when I moved out of the house. I got some Led Zeppelin and some of the stuff that was good enough to steal, and I guess they didn't really care anymore.
I remember when I was a kid, my family, they used to have this old tape machine with this big reel tapes. And they had some, I don't know, like 70s rock music on that. But I remember that I liked that you could change the speed on that machine. So you can like slow it down. And then I remember very clearly that I really enjoyed the sound that came out when you like speed it down very much. So I guess that was my first vision from how death metal should sound in like 20 years from then.
When I started school, me and a bunch of friends, we actually formed a band together. So that was one of my first dreams, was to be in a band. And we did like, obviously we didn't have instruments, so we just pretended, but you know, we would like put on performances and stuff like that to like Beatles and Kiss and AC/DC and like all kinds of different stuff really. And so that was like the first, like the first dream that I can remember. Then I started playing ice hockey and football and like when I was a little bit older, my biggest dream was to become a professional hockey player in the NHL. So that's what I wanted to do when I was a kid. But as I grew older, I realized I probably didn't really have the talent to become a professional hockey player. So and then after a while, music became a bigger part of my life again. And then basically I joined the band, and you know, here I am. Time moves fast.
One of my earliest memories of music is it was myself, my bigger brother, and our neighbor. We were listening to Judas Priest. I think it was a British Steel album, and we were standing in front of a mirror with bandy sticks, and you know, lined up in a row, tried to jam along. I think I was probably around 7 or 8 years old. So that's one of the earliest that I can actually remember.
I grew up like it was a house, but it was pretty beat down house. So I remember my parents always tried to remodel rooms, and it wasn't very nice house, but still it was a house with a big front yard, and mountain behind. You can run around and play all day. Yeah, I don't think I didn't really appreciate it so much then as I probably would now, because when I lived in this house, some of my friends, they lived in more like apartment blocks. And I remember I thought, oh, I also want to move to the apartment block. But now when I live in more like a city area, I should have appreciated more to have this outdoor nature just outside my door.
I come from a normal working class family. We lived in a decent neighborhood. I tried all kind of sports, but that wasn't really my thing. I wanted to play music, and I had to earn to get the guitar because you know, obviously we couldn't, you know, afford to buy just a guitar that I would play for a week and then get tired and move on. So I think I got from my some of our families, they had like a broken Russian, I don't know, is it like a balalaika or something like that, I think, and it didn't even have strings. I had like a fishing line. But you know, I played that for a couple of months, and then I got an acoustic guitar, played that for over a year until I got my first electric guitar. But anyway, in Sweden, at least back then, they had these government-sponsored youth houses. So they had like full equipment with music gear. So kids, as myself, we could just go there and jam. And they also had like an older guy that teach us to like play drums or guitars. So I think, you know, to have all that, it was quite easy to get into playing in a band. And then of course you have to like grow up from there and buy your own stuff, but at least you can start and see how it feels like without even owning any gear. So I think we had it pretty good in Sweden, at least when I was young in the 80s. I guess that changed now because obviously the economic situation is not what it used to be, and I don't think the kids today, they don't really have that anymore, which is a shame.
Well, the band was spawned out of another band that Olavi formed in 1988, I think, called Scum. And they had a bunch of members coming in and out. Well, not so many, but they split up in 91, I think, and or 92. And as it happened, me and the other guitar player in that band, Vesa, who's my best friend, we were in the same class in high school, and Olavi, we went on a vacation together to the Greek island of Kos. So we had a 2-week vacation there, and we were talking about, you know, I asked them basically why they didn't, you know, put the band back together again, and they said they didn't have a singer, and I was like, all right, I can do it, and they kind of, yeah.
During one of these drinking sessions, you know, like a party place with a lot of teenagers, they just stand on tables and, you know, everybody's going crazy. And there was some rock song, I don't really remember which one. And then Johan started to scream to the song. It was like, "Wah!" And I was like, wow, that guy that has really capacity to actually, you know, to sing, so, or at least to growl. So I got impressed by that. So we started to talk about why, if he could try, you know, and we can continue Scum, you know.
So when I got back home, you know, I tried out as a singer for the band, and that's how I joined, basically. Then my friend, because I didn't really know Ollie at the time. I met him a couple of times, but I didn't know him personally. But my friend Vesa, he quit the band, but I decided to stay on, and then we got a new guitar player, and Ted joined as a bass player, and we that's basically when it became Amon Amarth, because we had so many new members. We were taking a slightly different direction than Scum had before, both musically and lyrically. So it was basically a new band. So
the early days of the band was quite tough sometimes, you know, when we still had our full-time jobs, and of course you love the music, so that's why you do it. But after a while, you know, you spend all your vacation you got from work, you spend on going to shows and stuff, and you know, after work you went straight to rehearsal for several hours, and your girlfriend was waiting at home, and you just want to go home. Sometimes it could be very, very annoying, you know, but I guess that's life, you know, for all bands, unless you're one of those that just pops out of nowhere and just goes straight into radio. But it's totally been worth it though, and we also been lucky, I guess, all of us in the band, having girls and bosses at work that's been supportive, you know, and letting us, because I know a lot of friends from Sweden back in the days. They were doing bands, but they had to like skip tours and stuff, because always one or two of the guys in the band that they could not get time off to do it, you know, because you only have this much vacation, and it's tough, you know. In the beginning, if you only did a few shows a year, it was not a problem, but as soon as things started rolling, it was a mess, you know. So it was a lot of sleepless nights, you know, going to work knowing that you had to ask for more vacation from the boss, and you knew that he would be a bit annoyed. But I mean, it worked out, and we got to the point where we could finally skip our jobs, all of us, and start doing this full time, and that was a great relief, you know. So now when I have time off, it's vacation. I didn't have like summer vacation for maybe 5 or 6 years in a row, you know. That's tough.
Yeah, my mother and father, I think they're very proud that I'm in the band, because they see the band is doing good. But I'm not sure what they think about the music. They never said anything really. Maybe they said, yeah, we like the melodies, but maybe not the vocals so much. And my daughter, she likes my music actually. If I play a record in the car, she's always like sing along to every melodies. We bought this digital drum kit, so I tried to learn her some basic drum rhythms, and I can play maybe a Judas Priest riff or something together with her.